If you are worried about this Bitcoin dump, then you're in the right place, because yes, we have seen quite a huge dump in this market right now, and actually from our highs up at about $45,000, if we measure just how much we've dropped, it's definitely not a small amount, right? We've dropped by about 18% in about 11 days. So I know that a lot of people are worried about this, but I've got some really good news for you that I want to go through with you in this video. It's potentially giving us ridiculously high targets like 150k, or just much more reasonable ones like 80, 100k, and so on. So I want to go through all of that with you in this YouTube video. But before I get to that very fun stuff, let's first break down exactly what's happened, right? And so on this chart, what we've had here was Bitcoin finding quite a clear double top at the resistance area that we were anticipating on this YouTube channel, and those of you who are subscribed will know a lot about that. And since then, just a very quick tumble down. This is one of the things I was warning about on the channel, even though I wasn't expecting Bitcoin to drop down this quickly, was that, this rise wasn't necessarily so special because the sell-off was so strong. And naturally, we're gonna have quite extreme reactions, but obviously, it's quite clear to see now that bears have kind of regained quite a bit of control in this market at the moment. And the key problem that this is going to present now, which I was warning you all about while Bitcoin was up over here in the 43 to 45k range, the key problem that we're going to be facing right now, ladies and gents, is that now that we've come back below areas of support like 40k and 38k, we are potentially going to be finding resistance in these very same ranges. And that could turn out to be a very, very big problem for Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying that we will find resistance there, because obviously all technical analysis is down to probabilities, right? We're just exploring what probabilities are in the market and then drawing conclusions, and then ideally putting our money behind those ideas so that we can trade. But that is a very, very important thing to keep in mind. A lot of people at times like this just want a straight answer of exactly what's going to happen, and you ain't going to find it here, because this is a realistic technical analysis channel. I'm not here to feed you shit and just get likes and collect subscribers and affiliate revenue and stuff like that. That's not what this channel is about. So if you want realistic stuff, you're in the right place. And do me a favor and smash up the likes if you do appreciate that, as we're getting into this video right here, because it's going to be a very, very hot one. Here's the thing, is that we've got a lot of resistance up ahead, like I said, with those horizontal areas, but even with things like the Ichimoku cloud, which is now going to be offering resistance in this same zone that we were talking about on this YouTube channel for quite a while. We're even going to have a little bit of momentum resistance, which we've already kind of been rejected from. And on that very same note, if we take a look at the Ichimoku cloud on the 1 hour time frame right now, we actually did end up hitting this cloud on this quick spike that we had just a few hours ago at the time of me recording this YouTube video, and it ended up sending Bitcoin even lower. And the thing is that this cloud, within 2 days is going to be stretching between, 38.5 all the way up to 40.7, 40.8. So quite a large range that is potentially going to be resistance for this market if we do end up rallying higher. And that's the key problem that I have right here, is that even if in the very short term, even if Bitcoin is able to rally higher, there's so much resistance up ahead. And it's not like it's, just the Ichimoku cloud or just the EMA ribbon or just the horizontal resistance itself. It is because it's a collection of those things that I am genuinely a lot more concerned about Bitcoin in the short term. Even though I'm about to tell you about why this could actually be totally okay, I'm always just exploring both sides. I do genuinely think that this is going to be a serious challenge for Bitcoin to overcome, especially because it displayed so much strength over here with these two tops and then completely lost it all by tumbling lower. It actually reminds me a lot of the price action that we saw way back in 2018. I want to show this to you right here. It's this double top that Bitcoin formed in the market. This is what it looks like to me. Take a look at this. If we zoom into this on the 4 hour time frame, you can see that, the first peak goes up fairly high. The second peak, it's not really even a peak, but it goes up to a relatively similar level, but not as high as the first one. And then the market really tumbles down. It's actually very, very similar to what we have in the market right now. Let me just put this side by side. This wasn't even in my notes for the YouTube video, but I know that's why you guys love this channel. We're off the cuff quite a bit as well. But look at the similarities here. I mean, this is quite interesting to me. If we zoom into this a little bit more, open up the chart so we can see this clearly and hide this side, and then take a look at what was happening before. To me, it just looks like it's ringing the bells of history. The first peak going fairly high, check, we've got that. A little bit of a leg down, check, we've got that. Bart pattern back up, check, we've got that, and then we peak a little bit lower than the first high, and then we just tumble right back down in both instances with a few continuation patterns, like one continuation pattern right here and then down, one continuation pattern right here and then down. So a lot of similarities here, ladies and gents. One continuation pattern here and down, another one here, and if we play the chart forward, it goes massively down. So these are just interesting things to be keeping in mind right now in this market. We are forming things that we've seen in the past, and it is not a good sign, right? It's just really hard to overcome resistance when you form a pattern like this, with exceptions. So bear with me until I get to them. We've actually got an exception right here as well. If you take a look at this, we formed another relative double top right here, got a catastrophic, or at least what at the time looked like a fairly catastrophic drop down, but then we blasted right back up. Bitcoin actually does this quite a lot, and that's what the latter part of this video is going to be focusing on. But just for the moment, here's the thing, is that if Bitcoin does continue to drop lower, it's worth talking about support. The first support area that I was warning you guys about was going to be in this green box, and we did find support here, but not very much. I would have at least liked to see Bitcoin rally up into this green box, just showing us that the bulls have some strength, but we couldn't even pull that off, and Bitcoin only managed to pull off a 4% pump. It wasn't even a quick pump. I mean, it took a fair amount of time. It took about 20 hours to grind up by 4%. In the face of this dump, I mean, Bitcoin within 12 hours dumped down by 9%. The bulls are just not putting up a good fight. That doesn't mean they won't. I certainly think that they will. I think that the sell-off is quite extreme. Anytime we have any extreme price action, whether it's moving up or it's moving down, I will always call for some sort of cooling off period, some continuation pattern, some sort of reversal, some sort of reaction rally. That's just how healthy markets work. They don't move down in straight lines. They don't move up in straight lines. We move up, we consolidate, we move up again, we get rejected, and that's what a real market looks like. It's not just straight lines down to hell or straight lines up to heaven. It doesn't move that way, and so we've got to be realistic about these things. But this is the point here, is that we did unfortunately end up failing the support zone between $38,000 and $39,000, which is a massive shame, because it means we failed all of our important support, in my opinion, in the high $30,000 range. The next area that I'd be looking for Bitcoin to challenge is going to be between these two red lines, and this is a very, very important level. If Bitcoin fails this, we're probably dropping right down to the lows in the low 30k range, or just to backtest this low at about 33,000. I would be very pessimistic if Bitcoin lost this zone, though. I really don't want to see Bitcoin losing this area. It just gets really challenging. You see, the problem is, here's the thing, is if Bitcoin falls into this range now, which I think is overwhelmingly likely, I think it's very likely to happen. If Bitcoin falls into this range now and then rallies up, here's the thing, take a look at this. Bitcoin only has to pull off, let's say to get to the bottom of this resistance range, only has to pull off a 14% move to the upside. But if it bounces from the middle of the, I calculated this from the middle of this range, between these two red lines from the middle. If I look at the middle of this range, which stretches between 30,000 and 32 roughly, if I take the midpoint here, which is about 30.9, and then we look at how much Bitcoin has to rally up to hit the same area, it needs to move up by 30%. Now, I've got a simple question for you, ladies and gents. Within a downtrend, which is what Bitcoin is in right now, is it easier to pump up by 14% or 29%? This is a very obvious answer. There's only one answer. It's obviously easier to pump by less than to pump by more. It just takes less effort. So we're more likely, in fact, we're guaranteed to pump by 14% before, we're going to pump up by 29%. And the reason that I'm saying this is that it basically just is going to take less for Bitcoin to reach resistance again if we bottom out in this range and manage to rally higher. I think there's a good chance we might be able to pull it off, but I'm definitely not holding my breath just for the moment. And so, like I said, 33 and the low 30s potentially being another bounce zone for Bitcoin, and these areas have been very important on this chart before. This bottom green box that I have in the 30k range has supported Bitcoin a lot, with a lot of very quick support bounces up, even going back to the very beginning of 2021 last year. Not only then, but in summer as well, Bitcoin was able to find a lot of very reliable support from this box, and I certainly expect that to continue to be the case like I said, I've said this before. Look, I want a 20k Bitcoin just as much as the next guy wants 72 virgins in heaven. But bottom line, I don't think I'm gonna get it. I don't think I'm gonna get a 20k Bitcoin as much as I'd love it. So I really don't think that we're going to be losing this 30k support. If we do, phenomenal. That would be great. We're gonna have some really, really nice buy levels, some amazing trading opportunities. But I just don't think that we're going to be dropping below this support area. And for that reason, I do hold quite a lot of confidence in it. And that is kind of, you know, those are kind of the worst case scenarios that I'm seeing for Bitcoin. But, you know, one of the key things that I did want to draw to your attention just inside of this video here is a possibility of Bitcoin forming a double top pattern, which it's done quite a few times. So here's the thing. Take a look at this, right? Bitcoin forms quite a few of these patterns, right? And there's a lot of examples. I don't know exactly which one to show you first, but I do have a few in mind. What I'm going to do is first show you this double top pattern right here, where Bitcoin ends up forming a top at $40,000, roughly $42,000. It forms another top right here, but it gets rejected, and it actually looks like this rejection might be taking Bitcoin quite a bit lower. Take a look at this if we replay the chart. Look, it could potentially, I mean, we know the answer in hindsight. It's very hard to say now, but, you know, it did potentially look like Bitcoin could be ready to tumble all the way lower, and, you know, it's going to form a very nasty M-shaped pattern and then dump right back down. It's up in the air. But the point is, bottom line, it's not the case. Bitcoin does find resistance here and here again, but on its third attempt after a, I mean, fairly significant dump. Keep in mind, it's going from 40.8 down to about 37. It's not a small dump. You know, Bitcoin ends up rallying up very, very nicely and breaking out, and obviously we know that the rest was history. And there's another beautiful example of this, which I think is even better, which is actually what happens at $20,000. If we take a look at the price action at $20,000 and just look at what happens right around over here, we end up forming another double top pattern. You know, this one almost looking like Bitcoin is running out of steam as it's approaching the $20,000 range. Those of you who need some context of where the chart is, here we are. This is what happened in 2019. This is what happened in 2017 and 18, and we just moved the chart forward. This is where we were at the very end of 2020, the first year of our pandemic, and we ended up forming a double top right here, followed by, yeah, first a very, very quick sell-off, then another quick sell-off, and a lot of people lost a lot of faith in Bitcoin right here. Obviously, we didn't with the Fourth Slice channel. We were prepared to trade this, and I made one of the biggest profits in my life shortly after this, which was very, very nice in terms of percentage reward on a part of my position. So I was very, very excited about that. But a lot of other people who weren't smart enough to be watching the Fourth Slice channel ended up thinking that Bitcoin was actually going to form a double top right here and end up trending a lot lower. So it struck a lot of fear in people's minds. Compare that to where we are right now. And by the way, this is backed by numbers. One of the things that surprises me about what happened here and why so many people potentially thought we were going to drop down, one of the things that surprised me about this was that a lot of people and entities that hold extremely large amounts of Bitcoin, I'm talking hundreds or thousands of Bitcoins or more, a lot of those wallet holders sold their Bitcoins at this point. So people really lost faith in the market at this point. But of course, again, the rest was history, and Bitcoin ended up pumping up and massively breaking out. This is following a double top pattern where people lose a lot of faith. Now, granted, our drop right now is worse. First of all, we're not even forming it in an uptrend, right? This is the crucial difference between what I've shown you just now with these two examples, and there's one or two more examples that I want to show you, but I've got to be very clear with you. You know, one of the things I do as a real analyst, right? Someone who's actually trading, not just here to be jerking myself off to price predictions, getting the lotion out, talking about how my shitcoin is going to recover from absolutely horrific levels back up to its all-time high. I'm a real analyst, and what that means is I must poke holes in my own analysis. And this is what I'm doing right now, is pointing out to you that, yes, while we have formed a potentially similar pattern, we could be, and we could be looking at a potentially similar recovery with a third attempt that just massively slaps the ceiling and breaks right through. We are doing this inside of a downtrend, which makes it a lot harder. it makes it a lot harder to be trending up. Take a look at this example though. There's a few examples throughout 2017 that I also wanted to highlight to you. Probably my favorite one from 2017 was right in the $3,000 range when Bitcoin topped out right here, because this price range is very special to me. The reason for that is I became a trader around kind of like March, April, but I really sunk my teeth into it on this rally up, and I rode Bitcoin all the way up to 3,000, and I panic sold all of my Bitcoin down here, and then I bought all of it back, I think around over here. So that was a fun journey, and it did teach me a lot about the market. But what happens here is the same thing. Bitcoin forms a double top. Take a look at this. It rallies down. If we take a look at this rally and zoom in a little bit further, we can see, you know, a little bit of a glimpse into what people might have been thinking at the time. You know, we initially get quite a nasty drop. The next time we get a not so nasty, but still fairly large drop. It's actually still a pretty large drop, yeah, minus 18%. It happens fairly quickly, so it's definitely a substantial drop. And again, a lot of people losing faith in Bitcoin, thinking that it's not going to be able to recover, but bam, it blows up on its third attempt. So this is the thing, is that, you know, triple tops, they don't really hold for Bitcoin. Double tops can definitely be dangerous. We formed a lot of double tops that actually were a problem for the market. Again, this is part of me poking holes in my analysis, right? Another double top, very, very famous one. This is pretty much a double top. They topped out at similar levels, and look at what happened after this double top. You can't say it was a good thing. You know, there are many examples of where these double tops don't work out well for Bitcoin. You know, another one right here, you could potentially say this is a double top. I don't really think it is, but you could say that, you know, and again, Bitcoin tumbles much, much lower. So I just wanted to put this stuff on your radar, because what makes this exciting is that these pumps, they generally do move up very, very high when we clear these double tops. You know, for example, when Bitcoin broke out at 20K for the first time, it rallied up by 115%. When it broke out from this double top right here, it rallied by 38 to 50% roughly, to its next all-time high that stuck in the market. And other points we rallied up by much more, like 150%, which takes me onto this beautiful chart, which actually shows what could be happening if Bitcoin is forming a much larger macro pattern. Let me just show this to you before, and I already know Jimmy's already reached for the lotion on this one right here. That was a very quick one. I'm proud of you, mate. If we take a look at you know, what Bitcoin could be forming here, to me this actually looks very promising. It certainly looks extremely likely, you know, just from what I'm seeing on my end right here. It doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. I'm just putting out my analysis for you. And of course, ladies and gents, if you do appreciate this very grounded, healthy and realistic analysis, then do me a favor and smash up the likes. But just drawing a you know, what looks to be a potential ascending triangle pattern, where Bitcoin could be in quite a large time frame pattern. I mean, this stretches out into mid 2023 for a potential breakout point. We're generally going to break out somewhere around over here, maybe actually more accurately, it's generally just, you know, between 66 to 75% of the completion of the pattern. And so the pattern begins over here and it ends over here, which means, you know, I mean, I'm just eyeballing it, but 66 to 75% would probably be around here, which is, yeah, I mean, firmly in the middle of 2023. It's a very long-term pattern, and I'm not saying that we're actually going to do something like this, but the fun thing about thought experiments like this is that, you know, we can potentially start finding targets for where it could bring the market, and this one gives us a potential 153% breakout, which, if we break out from the same 65k level, would place us at $165,000. Not saying that's going to happen, I'm just putting the numbers into perspective for you. If we're going to form smaller pumps from our upside, but pumps that we've still done before, a 50% to the upside pump, which I think is far more likely, puts us right on the doorstep of $100,000. I don't think that's a coincidence at all, but definitely a cool number. And then a 100% pump would put us at 131k, which has been my long-standing target for Bitcoin, and I still believe that we're going to get there. Pardon me. The reason I think we're going to get there is generally when we pass our all-time highs in any serious way, we tend to double them. We don't have to, but that's happened like literally every single time in Bitcoin's history before. Off memory, maybe I'm wrong, but I highly doubt it. So, it's almost always the case that when we break an all-time high in some substantial way, we tend to double it. So that would obviously be very, very exciting, and that is something that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on in the longer term. For now, talking about this double top, it might not be that bad considering that we formed nice double tops before and it's actually worked in Bitcoin's favor. Is that going to be the case now? Well, it's got a hell of a challenge up ahead, because in order to clear this double top, which is what it needs to do, and believe me, I think that if Bitcoin did end up coming back up to this level now, we'll be looking at a very clean breakout, and that would be enough in my opinion. If Bitcoin managed to rise back up to this level, I would be very optimistic about a breakout now, because we've had this pullback. The more pullbacks we have on the way to breaking resistance, the harder that explosion is generally going to end up being. That's why when we had such a disgusting range in summer last year, we had such huge rallies coming off the back of them. I think that we're looking at something similar right now, and this is why I like to warn you guys that, just as the fear can seep back into the market very quickly, so can the excitement. So do keep that in mind as we navigate this market right now in real time. Ladies and gents, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have and you want to learn more from me, you want to be able to watch me trading in real time and gain access to everything I put out, a lot of educational materials, trade breakdown videos where I break down every single aspect of trades that I've made in the past. Very, very insightful videos. It's basically this kind of analysis video, but it's all about trading. What you get on this YouTube channel is the analysis side, which is obviously phenomenal, but it doesn't mean anything. It's not worth anything if you can't back it up with trades, and that's what I'm showing you, what I'm doing inside of 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗧 VIP. So the only way to join is by clicking on the first link in the description down below, then on the @𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗧 button at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗧 Gold, which is my free Telegram channel, and then send message to ask me how to join 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗧 VIP. If you do follow these steps, you'll be in a private chat with me where you can ask any questions you like. You can you can ask for information on VIP. We'll send it all over to you. If I don't reply, one of my assistants will. And if you want to trade on the same exchange that I'm using, it's all going down on Bybit. So check it out. By the way, they're sponsoring the Formula 1 race, which is a huge fucking flex. Not the whole race, but the Red Bull thing itself. So that is very, very cool. This is one of the biggest exchanges in the world, and I love to use them. Obviously, depending on where you are, you will need a VPN, and I cannot endorse that, so it's completely up to you if you use one. I do it all the time. I don't mind. But this is the exchange I'm using, and if you use my link in the description down below, you're going to get some free cash deposited into your account as a thank you for using my link. So go ahead and check that out if you like free money. If you want to join VIP, once again, these are the steps on the screen. I hope you have enjoyed this video. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.